الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. So we were discussing the vocative particle and we revised that this is the way you call upon someone. The particles are ya, aya, haya, ay, and a. Ya is most commonly used, and the sound or the letter that you pronounce, or the particle that you pronounce, saying ya or ay, aya, these are called harfun nida, hurufun nida is plural. The particles of calling upon someone, to call someone. And the noun and the person that you're calling is called munada. So the person calling is munadi, the caller, and the one being called is called munada. And we said the munada could be of different levels. It could have different state. If the munada is mudaf, means mudaf ilayh construction, then it will be in mansub state, in accusative case. So for example, you would say ya, which is harfun nida, abd is munada, and Allahi, lafzi Allah, the kalima Allah, is mudaf ilayh. So mudaf ilayh construction. The full name is mudaf ilayh construction. And doesn't have to be named, any construction of mudaf ilayh. The mudaf would be mansub because you're calling upon the mudaf. So that munada, which is abd in this case, will be mansub. You would not say ya Abdullah, you would say ya Abdallah, ya Abdallah. Even if you don't say it, many a time, as we mentioned before, you can omit ya, you'd rather say Abdallah. Even then you would, when you call upon someone, you would say Abdallah. Okay. But not when you mention about him. So you would not say Abdullah came to my house. That's wrong. And it has been a problem when you learn these things, you start calling upon people with that when you were calling them as a vocative particle, as a vocative sentence. Here you are just telling about them. So don't say Abdullah is my friend. Hada or huwa Abdullah. No, that's wrong, because now this is not munada at all. You are telling about him. This is a statement. This is a statement where you are telling about Abdullah. So you would say, Hada Abdullah, mubtada khabar. This should be in marfu state. Okay. So when you call upon someone, then you make it mudaf, munada mansub. So, Ya Abdullah or Abdullah, when you're calling upon someone. Ya Nisa an-Nabi. And other situations where it would be marfu predominantly. There is a condition where it could be majrur, but we'll leave it for the time being. That you would cover inshallah in a different level. So if you just call upon someone, a proper noun, Ya Nuhu, it would be marfu. Ya Nuhu, Ya Nuhu, not Nuhun. Ya Muhammadun, no, you would say Ya Muhammadu. Ya Zaidun becomes Ya Zaidu, Ya Yunusu, Ya Umaru, whoever. Obviously, when you pronounce like that, you stop. When you call upon someone, you do not say Ya Nuhu. You would say Ya Nuh, Ya Muhammad, Ya Zaid, Ya Umar. But there's only one dhamma, not tanween. It does not take tanween because now it becomes sort of marfu in that sense. It's alam and marfu anyway, but with munada being in the state of munada, it cannot take tanween unless it is just nakira ghair maqsuda. That's something you have not covered, and that will be in the next level, inshallah ta'ala. Here you just remember that this is ma'rifa, alam. You're calling upon that person, you will say Ya Nuhu, Ya Nuh, Ya Zaid, Ya Fatima, Ya Aisha. And it could be mu'arraf bil-lam. When it's mu'arraf bil-lam, you would still make it marfu, but with ayyuha, Ya ayyuha al-muslim, Ya ayyatuha al-nafs, Ya ayyatuha al-muslima, Ya ayyuha al-ladhina amanu. Ayyuha or ayyatuha from feminine. And nakra mufrada. Mufrada means singular, not in a construction. Here, this is nakra not mufrada. This is not singular. This is a murakkab. Mufrada as opposed to murakkab. This is murakkab. Mudaf, mudaf ilayh. Here, this is only mufrada, singular. So, ya rajulu. Although it's nakira, but it is singular. If it was ya ghulamu, yes, fine. But if you want to say ya ghulam of Zayd, so you will say ya ghulama Zayd, and because then it will be mudaf ila ma'rifa. So apparently it's nakira from outside, but being mudaf, even if it's mudaf ila nakira, even then you would still make it into mansoob state because it is mudaf. Munada mudaf is mansoob. Nakira, singular form on its own would be marfu as well. Okay, let's just a brief summary of that. Then we talked about and discussed this issue of asma'ul ishara. Asma'ul ishara, another type of ma'rifa. And you have of qareeb and of ba'id, of nearness and of far. Okay, you call upon someone, so you mention about someone, this, these, and then you have some for far, that and those. So this and these, that and those, near and for far, for distant someone. In Arabic, you say hada, and for feminine, you would say hadihi. For tasniya, hadani, hadaini, hadaini, hatani, hataini, hataini, for feminine. And plural remains the same throughout, haulai. Okay, for mudhakkar, for muannas. Likewise, for ba'id, it would be dhalika or dhaka. Dhalika or dhaka, for in all three states. For muannas, taka or tilka, tilka rusul, dhalika al-kitab. Rusul is plural and broken plural. That's why you can bring muannas as well. Tilka rusul or dhalika rusul. Okay. And tasniya, dhanika, dhainika, dhainika. And for muannas, tanika, tainika, tainika. And plural, ulaika. Okay. And then we mentioned about ismi ishara and musharun ilay. So the words are used, hada, dhalika, ulaika, tilka, all of those, tathniya, jama, mudhakkar, muannas. And the words are called asma'ul ishara. These kalimat are called asma'ul ishara, and they are ma'rifa, and they're mabniyat. They're from the type of ma'rifa group. Yes, one of those 7 categories. So musharun ilay is the one that's been pointed to. So anything that you point to, hada, whatever you are pointing to, dhalikal kitab. So al-kitab is musharun ilay, the one you have pointed towards. Okay. And the person who does that is called mushir, but the thing or the person or whatever that you're pointing or hinting towards or indicating of is musharun ilay, musharun ilay. So musharun ilay could be in 2 states, either with al or in a mudaf ilay construction. Obviously, if it is in mudaf and mudaf ilay construction, in that murakkab idafi, in possessive case, it cannot have al because mudaf cannot take al. So you have only 2 possibilities. Either it has al on it or it is mudaf ilay. If it is with mudaf ilay status, in that construction, in that form, it must be before isme ishara. You have to say it before isme ishara. Remember that. If it is with al, it should come after isme ishara. For example, هذا الكتاب, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه, تلك الرسل, أولئك الذين. So this is with al. Anything with ma'rifa, with al on it, that would come after isme ishara. Isme ishara is hada. Al-kitab is musharun ilay. So musharun ilay, the one you're hinting towards, comes after isme ishara if it has al on it. On the other hand, if it is not like that, this is murakkab ishari. Isme ishara, musharun ilay together become murakkab ishari. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. So again, this is isme ishara, this is musharun ilay, together they become murakkab ishari. And obviously this is another statement saying la rayba fihi, there's no doubt in it. That becomes this is mubtada and this is the khabar. Together murakkab ishari becomes mubtada and this is khabar for that. تلك الرسل. Again, اسم إشارة مشار إليه together with al. That's why they both came after اسم إشارة and مشار إليه. And this is what? مبتدا. فضلنا بعضهم على بعض. Again, this is complete sentence and it is خبر in this مبتدا. So this is مبتدا, this is خبر. Okay. Now, if you want to make it مضاف, so كتابكم, this book of yours. Now, this is not, this is your book. Rather, this book of yours, your book, this one. So if you want to say your book, which is this one, I want to point to it, but it is also in possessive case of you. So it is possessed by you, or my friend, or all of you. So I'll say kitabukum, your book, but I also want to say this book of yours. So how would you say kitabukum hada? This is mudaf now. Kitabu cannot take al, so it must come before ism ishara. Here kitabukum is, kitab is without al. So if it is without al in mudaf ilayh construction, it has to come out. It has to come before ism ishara. Hada would be afterwards. Kitabukum hada. Ibnul Maliki hada. Mudaf ilayh. The son of the king, this one. So this son of the king. This book of yours. That's how you would translate it in English. If you don't do that, if you rather say, no, I want to say hada kitabukum, then this would be hada mubtada and kitabukum, your book, mudaf ilayh, becomes the khabar. Hada mubtada, kitabukum is mudaf ilayh is khabar, mubtada khabar. This is your book. So this would be, this is your book, as opposed to this book of yours. In this case, in the first two examples, this book of yours is an incomplete sentence. You have to then say something after it to make it a complete sentence. So this is a murakkab ishari. Kitabukum hada is murakkab ishari. Ism ishara, mudaf ilayh together become musharun ilay. So this is murakkab ishari. This book of yours is nice, is good. I like it, something, whatever. Okay. Here, if you say hada kitabukum, this is your book, that becomes complete sentence, mubtada khabar. So this is not murakkab ishari anymore. Okay. Hada ibnul malik, this is the son of the king, complete sentence. Okay. So make sure that you understand this. And then we said there are few. Yeah. Likewise, if you do not have al, so if you bring mudaf ilayh afterward, it would change the sentence of mubtada khabar. Likewise, if you remove al, it would make it complete jumla as well. Hada kitabun, this is a book, complete sentence. Tanika bintani, those two are two girls. Hadihi naqa, this is a, this is female, as in this female is a camel, she, hadihi. So this is mubtada khabar, because mubtada is ma'rifa, khabar is nakira. Okay, complete sentence. So it is not murakkab ishari anymore. Okay, let's do some practice. Hada qalami, this is my pen. Hadi sa'atun hasana, this is a beautiful watch. Hadi, this is muannas. Sa'atun is muannas, feminine, because of rounded ta at the end. So this is a good, a nice watch. Hadani rajulani, now this is ism ishara and musharun ilayh, because it has al now. These are jumla ismiya, completed, because this is mudaf ilayh, it has come afterwards, can't be murakkab ishari. Likewise here, nakira without al, nakira, so it can't be murakkab ishari, it has to be mubtada khabar. Mawsuf sifat together becomes khabar. Mudaf ilayh together become khabar of hada. This is my pen. This is a beautiful, a nice watch. Hadani rajul, these two men. Now this is murakkab ishari. Hadani, these two are ar-rajulani, these two men. Now you have al, and it is coming after hadani. That's perfect way. Hadani rajulani, these two men are akhawan, are two brothers. These two are brothers. Hadani al-ashkhasu, haulai al-ashkhasu, sorry. These two men, these all of these, men. Ashkhas, shakhs, person. All of these persons are ikhwanun, are brothers. So again, murakkab ishari, because of al on it. كتاب هذا الولد. The book of this boy. Book of this boy. كتاب هذا الولد. Book of this boy. كتاب هذا الولد مضاف مضاف إليه. Book of this boy is نظيف is good. Okay. If you wanted to say كتاب هذا الولد نظيف. Likewise وكذلك وجهه, and likewise his face. The book of this boy is clean, and likewise his face. كتاب الولد هذا وسخ. This book of the boy is unclean. وسخ خبر. اسم هذه البنت, the name of this girl is زينب. زينب. تلك المناظر حسنة. These sceneries, these scenes are beautiful. حسنة. مناظر جمع غير عاقل of منظر. That is why حسنة واحد مؤنث. To take that as a group. This is مؤنث. To suggest that this is جمع غير عاقل. هاتان اليدان نظيفتان. These two hands are clean. نظيفتان. أهذا أخوك أم ذاك? Is this your brother or that? Okay, is this your brother or that? Okay. Now, this doctor is learned. This doctor is learned. This doctor. هذا الطبيب. You want to make it اسم إشارة. So هذا الطبيب, because the طبيب, the doctor is coming after هذا, it should have al on it. هذا الطبيب learned. حاذق, عالم, متقن, ماهر, any word for learned. This friend of mine is wealthy. My friend. This. So my friend, this. My friend is mudaf mudaf ilayh. Friend of mine or my friend. So how would we say? My friend. Mudaf mudaf ilayh. Bring that outside. Because mudaf mudaf ilayh, if you want to point to that, it must come before ism ishara. So my friend is صديقي, and this هذا. صديقي هذا. This friend of mine. صديقي هذا غني. خبر. مبتدا خبر. صديقي هذا غني. Those friends are wealthy. أولئك الأصدقاء. Those friends. أولئك الأصدقاء with al, because now it's coming after اسم إشارة. أولئك الأصدقاء. And it's not mudaf anyway, so you can have al on it on that. أولئك الأصدقاء, all those friends are wealthy. أغنياء نكرة. خبر is نكرة. أغنياء without al. The son of the king is generous. This son of the king. The son of the king first. And this comes afterward. مضاف مضاف إليه. Son of the king. ابن الملك. This هذا. ابن الملك هذا generous is generous is سخي سخي كريم. That she camel is beautiful. تلك الناقة, that ناقة with al, because it is coming afterward now and it is not مضاف anyway. تلك الناقة جميلة. مؤنث. ناقة is مؤنث. This handsome boy is pious. This handsome boy is pious. هذا الولد الحسن. هذا الولد الحسن. You are bringing the sifa of that walad as well. So اسم إشارة is هذا, this. Handsome boy is موصوف صفة. Both should have al because they are موصوف صفة. And they are becoming now musharun ilay with al. So both should correspond to each other in all four respects as mawsuf sifa do. So you would say هذا الولد الصالح. الحسن handsome. الحسن is pious. صالح. هذا الولد الحسن صالح. Oh Abdullah. Oh Abdullah. Is this your son? Ya Abdullah. Ya Abdullah. أهذا ابنك? Is this your son? أهذا or هل هذا ابنك? Those boys are standing in front of their father. Those boys. أولئك الأولاد. أولئك الأولاد with al because it is مشار إليه. أولئك الأولاد coming after أولئك. Standing. قائمون in front of أمام. أمام. أبيهم مضاف مضاف إليه in front of their father. أبوهم أبيهم because it is مضاف of أمام. أبيهم مجرور. أمام أبيهم. This is a good man and those are transgressors. This is هذا good man. رجل صالح or رجل حسن and those two are وذانك for masculine. This is ذانك ذينك ذينك. Remember تانك تينك تينك for feminine. So وذانك فاسقان تثنية. فاسقان آني أيني أي. وذانك فاسقان. That girl is pious. That girl. تلك الابنة. تلك البنت or تلك الابنة with al because it is مشار إليه. تلك الابنة تلك البنت both ways fine. صالحة is pious. صالحة نكرة موصوف. مبتدا خبر becomes a complete sentence. So اسم إشارة مشار إليه together becomes مبتدا both معرفة. And خبر is صالحة because it is feminine word. Girl is feminine. So تلك البنت صالحة. And likewise, and so is her mother. وكذلك أمها. وكذلك أمها. And likewise is his mother. There you go. Okay. Okay. That was revision and some practice. Let's move on to interrogative pronouns. So, Asmaul Ishara. How do you question? How do you use those words of question? There are different types. First of all, you have already discussed and hal, where you ask a question by saying is, am, are, was, were, you bring that auxiliary verb outside as you do in English. So I'm standing. If you wanted to say, am I standing? So these are and hal. Both are used. Let's do some pronoun of interrogation. Those are a specific word with some specific meaning. Now, and hal, these are the particles. These are two particles. And now the one we are going to do is remember them as WH words. What, when, how, which, where. So those are the ones we're talking about. But they are pronouns. They can become mubtada on their own. These and hal, they are particles. And particle cannot become mubtada. They become part of a sentence as just helping it out in one way or the other. Okay. So what are those? The basic ones and then the combination ones. Aina, where? Aina. Remember those. You have to memorize those. Aina, where? Kaifa, how? How? Kaifa al-hal? Kaifa haluka? Man, who? Mata, when? Lima or limadha? Why? Anna, from where? Kam, how much or how many? Ayyu, ayyun. Ayyun or ayyatun? Masculine, feminine, both are used. Ayyun or ayyatun? Which? Mada, ma or ish. In the slang, they say ish. Ayyu shay'in, short for that. All means what? So they are used in the beginning. So you will say, man abuk, who is your father? Ma lawnu qamisik, what is the color of your shirt? Lawnu is mudaf. Qamisi is mudaf ilayh, that's why it's qamisika, mudaf ilayh. Mudafar, lawn, that's why it's majroor, and this is mudaf to this, and this is mudaf ilayh, hence why this is majroor as well. But this is pronoun. Pronoun do not take any fatha dhamma kasra change, they stay the way they are. They are called mabniyat. We will cover that. In fact, we've touched upon that at some point. Kam umruk. How old are you? What is your umr? How much is your umr? Is your age? Kayfa sihhatuk? How is your health? So when they are used as mudaf ilayhi, they will follow the mudaf as per rule. Obviously, they will do exactly the same. Kitabu man. So it becomes, they will follow. It will come afterwards. You won't say whose book. Kitabu man hada, like this. Okay. So you could add extra letters, which are particles of preposition. So those prepositions you can use with these pronoun to give another meaning. For example, liman, for who. So for who become, who are you doing it for? So liman, liman. So man, you just added li. So sometimes you use e, li, bi, min, an, fi, ila. So you can use any of those with certain ones. So not everything with everyone, but normally you can use most of them with each other and they will give you a new meaning. Becomes a phrase and gives you a good meaning. So lima, what for? Become, how much? Ila ain, to where? Fima, in what? Ila mata, till when? Min ma, from what? Mimman, from whom? Amma, regarding what? Anma, it was actually anma. Together it becomes anma, amma. That's the tajweed rule where you have noon sakina followed by meme, you merge them together and change this noon into meme. Anma becomes amma. Min aina, from where? Okay. Okay, yes. Liman hadha al-qalam. You can do it like this. For who is this pen? Okay. If you wanted to say whose pen is this is how you say it. For who is this pen? Liman al-mulku al-yawm, for who is the kingdom today? This is Quranic ayah. Lillahi al-wahid al-qahhar. Now here, just remember, limanil mulku, and then you don't pronounce this alif, al-mulku, this hamza, and al-yawm, this hamza, and al-qalam, you do not pronounce this This is called hamza of wasl, hamza of connectivity. So it connects when there's a need, and it's only needed when the letter after this is silent. If a word begins with a letter without fatha dhamma kasra, in Arabic, you cannot have a word that does not have fatha dhamma kasra. So if you happen to have a situation like that, you would have to add what we call a connecting hamza. It's called hamzatul wasl. Hamzatul wasl. How does it work? So hamzatul wasl is liman al-mulku al-yawma. So these are hamzatul wasl, this and this. Liman al-mulku al-yawma. These hamzas are extra. You do not need them if you are pronouncing them together. You do not need that in the middle of a sentence. They're needed at the beginning because the al-mulku, you cannot say al-mulku. How would you make al-mulku? You have to have hamza. So it is actually when you make something mu'arraf bil lam. What do you say? You don't say mu'arraf bil al. No, you say mu'arraf bil lam. But lam, how can you just add a lam without it having a sign? So this lam is sakin lam. So just to make it easy, you put a hamza before it. You do not say al-mulk, rather you say al-mulk. So hamza is added only to make it easy to pronounce it. You may ask, why can't we have fatha dhamma kasra on lam itself? The problem is they are already in use, those lams for la and li. And there are quite a few of those lams with different meanings and they've got different usage. So if you had that extra, there will be a lot of confusion. What sort of lam are we talking about? Is that limulk, lilmulk, lilmulk? What is this lam? Lamulk, no one would know. So that lam has many different roles in Arabic already. So just to make it easy, they made it a silent lam to make it ma'rifah. So when we say put al to make it ma'rifah, it actually is to add or to put lam sakina before it. But obviously you cannot have lam sakina on its own in the beginning. So we say put al. So the baytun becomes al-baytu. So it's not is not needed, but you can't have al-baytu, al-waladu, al-rajulu. You can't do that. So what they say, just put hamzatul wasl. This is a connecting hamza to make it easy to pronounce in the beginning. But when it is in the middle of a sentence, there's already some letters before it, then you do not need that hamzatul wasl. You elide it, you delete it. You do not need it. You don't pronounce it, but you leave it there just to not confuse, but don't pronounce it. So here you would say liman. You have to drop this hamzatul wasl in the center because this is coming in the middle of a sentence, not at the beginning. Likewise, this one. So if you drop them, what would happen? You've got liman, mulk, yawm. Okay. So you need to join these. How would you join these? How would you read this? There's a rule called as-sakinu iza hurrika bil kasr. As-sakinu iza hurrika bil kasri or kasra. Kasrati, if you want to just say kasra or kasri. So when a sakin, a silent letter, a letter without any fatha dhamma kasra is made into active letter, you do it by adding a kasra. So two letters, sakin and sakin. Which one can take a sign? You have to give the first one a sign. Okay, likewise here. If there is, and it depends on how easy it is. Generally, it is a kasra, but it could be fatha as well sometimes. But majority, in most of the cases, in most of the times, it would be a kasra. So you put this kasra under that noon to make it easy. Here, you do not need to worry about because this kaf is already active. So you join this kaf with dhamma to lam. So you would say lima ni lil. The ni is joined with lam. Lima nil mulkul yawm. So you would read it like this. Lima nil mulkul yawm. Okay. Lima nil mulkul yawm. That's how it goes. This is called hamzatul wasl. In the middle of a sentence, you drop it. You don't pronounce it. In the beginning, you have to. Okay, let's just do a little bit of revision. In lam, lamma, lamu amr, la'un nahi. These are all called jawazimi mudari'. They give mudari' a jazm. Okay. Perhaps jasif. Yeah. So you say they give the jazm sound. Sign, look at that. Ya'budu becomes ya'bud. Lam ya'bud. In ya'bud. Lamma ya'bud. Lam la ya'bud. Liya'bud. Okay, so this is how it goes. La ta'bud. Same would go. So you make it jazmi. And where there is noon i'rabi, like noon, but not this noon, which is noon and iswa. Not this noon and iswa. Noon are femininity for, plural feminine. All the rest noons have to be dropped to make it jazm, to make it nasab likewise, as you've already done. Lame amr. So how do you add lame amr? So this is how you do. For third person and for first person. For second person, you do not need lame amr in ma'ruf state. In majhul state, yes. So here you would say, ya'budu becomes liya'bud. Ya'budani liya'buda. Drop that noon. Liya'budu. Let him. They should do that. They should worship. Let him do it. They should do it. Okay, let them do it. لتعبد لتعبدا ليعبدنا لتعبد remember this is jama muannas, so do not drop at all. And for when it comes to second person anta, you, so then you just change it differently. Okay, they are different, it should be covered. Yeah, that's covered, ignore that. What I have done, I've just kept it like this to hide it, so that you don't worry about them. Those two, they are made into command in a different way. We'll cover that today. Otherwise, you just use to make it amr, a command. Let them do it. Li'a'bud, let me worship. Let us worship. When you say li'na'bud, okay? Command. I should do it. You should do it. He should do it. Means as a command. So you said just make it jazmi at the end, but also add lam amr. This is called lamu amr, lamul amr. Okay, the lam of demand, demanding some action, or command, lam of command. Okay, so for what happens to this then? Do you do something about this? Yes, you do. Now let's talk about them. Second person. You have got few steps to follow. Number one, you take the mudari form. Then what do? You remove the sign of mudari, which is atta ya na, atta ya na, atain or nati, whichever way you remember it. At the beginning, you remember alamati mudari? What are the alamati mudari? Look at that. These ya, ta, ya, na. These are alamati mudari. Okay, the signs of mudari. So you remove them. Then what you do? You just put extra hamzatul wasl there. Why? Because the next letter is silent. Put hamzatul wasl. Then what would you do? Put a dhamma or a kasra on that hamzatul wasl, depending on the ayn kalima of the word, or of that fail or the mudari. Okay? Make it majzoom, means it is amr, so I have to make it majzoom sakin. Okay? So let's do practice and then you would know what I'm trying to say. This is what you have done. Look at that. This was yes ma'u. Yes ma'u mudari is yes ma'u sami'a. Yes ma'u. So what happens here? Yes ma'u. So first you would remove that ya. Once you remove that ya, what is the first letter? Seen. Seen with the sukun on it. Can you pronounce that sukun? Sma'. No, you can't. You have to put hamzatul wasl. So there you go, that's hamzatul wasl here. Then what would you put on that hamza? Kasra, fatha, or dhamma. You cannot put fatha in sulasi mujarrad. In the triliteral form, you can only put kasra or dhamma. And it is dependent on what is on the ayn kalima. So ayn kalima here is seen, meme, ayn. What is the ayn kalima? Is meme. You remember that? Fa'ala fi'l. First letter always is called fa kalima. First letter is called fa kalima. So seen is fa kalima. Seen is in fa position. What is in ayn position? Meme. What is in lam position? Ayn. So don't get confused. These are the positions for fa, ayn, lam, fa'ala. So this was fa'ila, yaf'alu, yaf'alu. So this is ayn position. So if the letter on the end position is with fatha or with kasra in this case, fatha, kasra, fatha. Regardless of whether it is fatha or kasra, you put kasra on the hamzatul wasl. And you make it sakin at the end, silent. Why? Because amr is silent. So you would say isma, idrib, iftah. That's how you would make it. Isma, idrib, iftah. On the other hand, if this one had dhamma on it, the ayn kalima is with fatha, ma, ri, ta. This is bu, su, ru, all three are with dhamma. So again, the first step is to remove that hamzatul wasl, which you have done. So what have you got now? Sakin ayn. So you put hamzatul wasl at the beginning. And because the ayn kalima has dhamma pesh on it, you put dhamma on this hamzatul wasl and make this last letter into jazmi form. Okay, so it becomes u'bud, u'bud, unsur, ukhruj, udkhul. Okay, this is how it goes. So just remember it again. What is the first step? Ta'budu. It was mudari was ta'budu. So first you remove that alamat mudari. It becomes budu, budu, ayn, sakina, budu. You put hamzatul wasl at the beginning. And what harakat would go on this hamzatul wasl? It depends on the next letter, which is the middle letter, which is ayn kalima. Dhamma, dhamma. Or budu. Then you make it, fifth step is to make it sakina. Okay, you would say or bud amr. For tathniya, you do the same. Remove that alamat mudari. You're left with a silent or sakin ayn. Put hamzatul wasl and look at the third letter. Third letter from including that, alamat mudari, which is now replaced with hamzatul wasl. Or you could say just say middle letter. Okay, ayn kalima. Ain kalima is with dhamma. So again, dhamma. And then this is tasniya and this is noon i'rabi. Drop that. In jazmi state, you drop that. So u'budani becomes u'buda. Likewise, u'budu, u'budi, u'buda, u'budna. This noon remains because this is jam of feminine. Okay. Remember that. That's how you do. We do a lot of practice on that. Inshallah. Let's do little practice today. Dakhala, he entered. Yadkhulu, he will enter. You want to tell him to enter. How would you say? First, you remove that. Yeah. So you're left with only silent dal. You put hamzatul wasl and look at the ain kalima, which is with dhamma. You put dhamma on that and make it sakina. So it would be udkhul. So this one would be udkhul. Here. Again, you remove that ya, put hamzatul wasl. Look at that. Kha is with fatha. So with fatha or with kasra, same way, you put a kasra there. Hamza with kasra. Ib khalu, ib khalu, then make it sakina. Ib khal. Okay, be stingy. He became stingy. Jalasa, yajlisu. Remove that ya, jim sakina, put hamzatul wasl. And looking at ain kalima with kasra, put kasra there. Ijlis. Ijlisu becomes ijlis sakina. Dhahaba, remove that yadhabu, remove that ya, hamzatul wasl, ha with fatha, kasra again. Idhabu become idhab, make it jazm. Kataba yaktubu, remove that ya, put hamzatul wasl. Look at the middle letter, which is the ain kalima with dhamma, put dhamma on this hamzatul wasl. Uktubu, then make it jazmi. Uktub, okay. Ghasala yaghsilu, yaghsilu, he's washing. Remove that, hamzatul wasl, because this is silent. Kasra, it would take kasra. Ighsil, ighsil. Qara'a, remove that ya, put hamzatul wasl. Sakina, hamzatul wasl. Middle letter ain kalima has fatha, kasra here. Iqra, make it jazmi. That's how you would do. Okay. So practice those, inshallah ta'ala, and we'll be fine. May Allah make it easy, inshallah. Okay. Let's go on to the books. Okay. التدريب التاسع. كون جملا. Jumal is the plural of jumlatun, jumal. Okay. Kawwin, make sentences. The amar is kawwin, or you listener, make jumalan. That's why it's mansub. It is maf'ul. It is the one what you're doing action on. You are the doer. Riyal, ijar, alf, bayt. How can you construct it into a complete sentence? Ijarul bayti, mudaf mudaf ilay. The rent of the house is alfu riyalin. Ijarul bayti alfu riyalin. Al masjid yusalli bakrun fil haram. Bakrun yusalli fil masjid al haram. In the masjid al haram, he prays in the masjid of haram. Masjid al haram means in Makkah. Janamu hujra fin naum bakr. Bakr, yanamu, Bakr sleeps, fi hujratin naum, in the sleeping room, room of sleeping. Okay. Al-hadiqa, shajara, wa fi wardun. Ward is flower, rose. Fil hadiqati, in the garden, in the park. Fil hadiqati, shajaratun wa wardun. In the garden, trees in the garden there are trees and ward flowers. Istiqbal fi makan bayt. Fil bayti, in the house. Makanu istiqbalin. In the house is a reception place, place of reception. Istiqbal, to receive someone. Makan, place. Al-haram shari' al-masjid fil bayt, fi al-bayt. البيت, the houses, في شارع المسجد الحرام, the houses on the Masjid al-Haram street. The street which goes straight to Masjid al-Haram is called Shari' Masjid al-Haram. The name of the street is Masjid al-Haram. So Shari'i Masjid al-Haram, the street of Masjid al-Haram. Okay. Let's leave that there. Well, this is easy. التدريب العاشر, the 10th one. أحمر, red. أحمر, أخضر, green, أصفر, yellow. بيت بكر, orange. بيت بكر مضاف مضاف إليه. في البيت جار مجرور. أمام البيت ظرف, and the ism after that. Combine them together. أحمر means قف. أحمر means قف. قف means stop. Red light says to stop. أخضر, أخضر. Green one say سر, move, go. أصفر, yellow means استعد, be ready. Okay, استعد, be ready. Command. All three are command. You may find, you say, استعد, Hamzatul Wasl there. You can understand, but why there's no Hamzatul Wasl for this command and this command? We'll cover that in different level. You remember we said that if the first letter is silent, then you need that Hamzatul Wasl. Here, the first letter has got kasra, you do not need this. Likewise here, you do not need for qif. Likewise, you do not need for qul, huwallahu ahad, say as a command. Why do you not need it? Because there's no Hamzatul Wasl. Well, it was, but now it's been moved because the first letter wasn't silent in those words. Why that was? You would do that in your sarf lesson, inshallah, a little bit in advanced class, second year. In fact, third. Okay. Baytu Bakr, in the house of Bakr is قريب من المسجد. Yeah. بيت بكر قريب من المسجد. That's fine. في البيت ثلاث حجرات. In the house are 3 bedrooms. أمام البيت, in front of the house, is حديقة واسعة, a big garden. Okay. I just want you to know how to write, and let's leave it there, inshallah. Similarly here, how to write, so we start from there next week. Yaqub in the Yusuf. Yaqub alayhi salam is now in front of Yusuf. He's been brought here. ولما سار الرجال بقميص يوسف إلى كنعان أحس يعقوب رائحة يوسف وقال إني لأجد ريح يوسف. When the men, Sara means to travel. That's why you just go sir, go, drive, travel, move, sayr. Okay. When the men traveled with the qamis, with the shirt of Yaqub, Yusuf alayhi salam, you remember he gave his shirt to take it to father. The qamis Yusuf alayhi salam's qamis, the qamis of Yusuf. So this is majroor, but this is dictate. So that's why it doesn't take kasra, it takes fatha in place of kasra, but this is mudaf ilayh, that's why it's majroor. Okay. Ila Kan'ana, to Kan'an. So when the men travel, when they start coming back with the qamis of Yusuf, with the shirt of Yusuf to Kan'an, they just started traveling from there just now. Ahassa Yaqubu. Yaqub alayhi salam felt Ra'ihata Yusuf, mudaf mudaf ilayh, the fragrance of Yusuf, the smell of Yusuf. He felt it. Waqal, and he said, Inni la'ajidu riha Yusuf. Indeed, I find the smell of Yusuf. I get it. See, this is the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, immense mercy, and whatever Allah wills. Here, Yaqub alayhi salam is in the city, and within the city, Yusuf alayhi salam, as a small boy, is in that well. He doesn't know. He couldn't notice. He couldn't smell him. This is when Allah doesn't want, nothing works, even if it's next to you. And at this point, Allah wanted him to know he is in Egypt, and they just traveled with the shirt. And here, Yaqub alayhi salam could smell it. This is called miracle. And that only happens when Allah wills to whoever. When it happens with prophets, it's called mu'jiza. When it happens with the wali, the pious people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is called karama. And both are haqq. The doer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In both cases. Qalu, they said, Tallahi means the family said, Tallahi, by Allah, innaka lafi dhalalika al-qadim. This is from Quranic ayah. Indeed, you are in your old misguidance. You keep thinking about Yusuf. You're not gonna, get better. This is your old, na'udhu billah, junoon or some sort. Your obsession about it. ولكن كان يوسف صادقا. But Yusuf was, Yaqub was, ولكن كان يعقوب صادقا. Yaqub alayhi salam was honest. He was truthful. He was telling the truth. فلما أن جاء البشير ألقاه على وجهه فارتد بصيرا قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون. When the Bashir came, when the one who brings the good news, Bashir is someone who brings a good news. So the one who brings the good news, when he came, ألقاه على وجهه, he put that shirt on his face. فارتد بصيرا, so he returned with eyesight. So he returned like the one who could see, in the state that he could see. Okay, he was blind. He became blind. And then he said, Alam aqul lakum, did I not say to you, Inni a'lamu, that I know min Allah, from Allah, more than what you do not know. Ma la ta'lamu, what you do not know. Then the family said, the children and the other people, Ya Abana, O our father, istaghfir lana, please seek forgiveness for us, dhunubana, for our sins. Seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is implied. Istaghfir lana, do tawbah, seek forgiveness for us, for our sins. Inna kunna khati'een, indeed we were from the wrongdoers. We were at mistake. He said, Yaqub alayhi salam, Sawfa astaghfiru lakum rabbi. Very soon I will seek forgiveness for you from my Lord. Innahu huwa al-ghafur rahim. Indeed, he is the most forgiving, most merciful. وَلَمَّا وَصَلَ يَعْقُوبُ إِلَى مِصْرَ. Then obviously the story is that then they all went. This is what Yusuf alayhi salam said, bring Yaqub and all the family here. So when وَلَمَّا وَصَلَ يَعْقُوبُ, when Yaqub alayhi salam reached Misr, the country, Egypt, استقبله Yusuf. Yusuf alayhi salam received him. Remember Makanul Istiqbal? So Yusuf alayhi salam received him, gave him reception. وَلَا تَسْأَلْ عَنْ فَرْحِهِمَا. Do not ask about their joy. وَسُرُورِهِمَا, and about their ecstasy. وَكَانَ يَوْمًا مَشْهُودًا فِي مِصْرَ. That day was observed and witnessed in Misr. Means it was just so well known because the reception was such, and father and the son, those who loved each other to the max, have met, according to some narration, after 40 years, some say more or less, but anyway. So it's quite a long time that they met together. You could imagine how much preparation was there. Obviously not extravagance, but known, and could be seen, especially when Yusuf alayhi salam was the king for a long time of that state. وَكَانَ يَوْمًا مُبَارَكًا, and that day was blessed. وَرَفَعَ يُوسُفُ أَبَوَيْهِ, and Yusuf alayhi salam elevated, means gave the parents, عَلَى الْأَرْشِ, made them sit on the arsh, the throne. وَوَقَعُوا كُلُّهُمْ سُجَّدًا لِيُوسُفَ, and they all prostrated in the state of sajda. They all went down, bowed down, kulluhum, all of them, in the state of sajda, li Yusuf, for Yusuf alayhi salam. Now this was sajda of ta'zeem, and it was permissible in previous generations, previous nations. But in the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in our Sharia, we are not even allowed to do sajda. Ta'zeemi is haram, major sin. And obviously, if someone does it with the intention of worship, that's kufr. That's leaving someone, someone's leading someone into disbelief. You can't do that with the worship intention, obviously, other than Allah. But to do with respect is a major sin. By consensus, there's no disagreement on that. وقال Yusuf alayhi salam said, هذا تأويل رؤياي. This is the interpretation of my dream min qablu, before. قَدْ جَعَلَهَا رَبِّي حَقًّا. Indeed, Allah made that dream come true. My Lord made that true. إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا. Indeed, I saw 1 and 10, means 11 كوكب, stars. وَالشَّمْسَ, and the sun. وَالْقَمَرَ, and the moon. رَأَيْتُهُمْ, I saw them, li, for me, sajidin, in the state of sajda. And this is what the dream interpreted as. Father and the mother are the sun and the moon of his stepmother now, because his mother passed away when he was young. And I saw them, and father and mother and brothers. So all the 11 brothers, 10 brothers, and Binyamin, the mother and father, same brother. وحمد يوسف Allah hamdan tayyiban kathira. Yusuf alayhi salam praised and thanked Allah, a big praise, beautiful, nice praise, and a lot of praise. وشكر يوسف على ذلك شكرا عظيما. And he thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a great thank. وبقي يعقوب وآل يعقوب. And Yaqub alayhi salam stayed, and the children of Yaqub alayhi salam stayed في مصر, in Egypt, زمنا طويلا, for a long time. ومات يعقوب, Yaqub alayhi salam then passed away. وزوجه في مصر, and while his wife was in Egypt. And this is how it was. Inshallah, we leave it there. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.